Welcome to the show today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're having a great morning. I know I am. So that means you got to also, because we're going to be together 2 hours. If we're going to be together 2 hours, we have to mirror each other's mood and enjoyment. Now, I'm going to jump out of the gate today with a really cool topic. At least I think it's cool. Getting ready to have a baby. Yeah, I think it's a cool topic. Some people may be going, I just wonder what this guy's definition of cool is. But I just did a series on this for parents on what to do pre-baby. And I messed it up the first 2 times. I can say that. But I was way younger, and it was many, many years ago. So I wanted to come back and write the manual for what people tell me they need. And one of the things people tell me they struggled with was not only the reproduction part. I think they got that down pretty pat, and they seemed to enjoy that. But it was the before the baby was born time that was filled with angst, some depression, excitement, not knowing what to do. And there was some fear there of, what am I going to do? So I took some time, I made a parenting product that was the manual for parenting. You can go by my website, scotferrell.com, if you want to check that out. But today, in the few minutes that we've got, I just want to talk about some of the basics of what you do before the baby gets here. Well, I ask people sometimes when they come to me, and I'll say, why'd you have the kid? Okay, I know why I had my first one. Okay, backseat of the car, high school, got it. That's understood. But now I'm basically talking to couples that love each other and together. Why did you have the baby? And I've gotten various reasons. One, save a marriage. Okay, let me tell you right now, having a baby to save a marriage is not the best idea. Always wanted to have kids and wanted to love them. I'm on board for that one. I was lonely and wanted to have a child. Now, let's back that up again. Wrong answer. I figured it would have my spouse love me more if I did this. Bad answer. Let me go back to the right answer. We love each other deeply. We know that God combined us together to have this beautiful baby. That one I'll take. So what do you do prior to the birth? Well, I'm going to give you some of the action steps now. Again, I don't have time now, but I want you to think about what I say during this time and how you can apply it to your life. I like to look at everything as a business. When you invest in a business, you want a return on investment. No, I'm not being a Vulcan. I'm not taking all the emotion out of this, but I'm bringing some common sense in, because when it comes to babies and weddings, we seem to check common sense out and then we just run with emotion. Why would you want to do that? You wouldn't do it in a business. You normally wouldn't do it in day-to-day life. Why are these the 2 situations where we go, cost us no problem, whatever we want, we got to do, whatever we feel, we got to roll with? Stop. Let's don't get carried away. And the baby doesn't benefit from that. I want you to understand something. If you've been created, right, we've had a creator, we've had God, and I was created for a purpose, plan, direction. So's that child. So that child that you're getting ready to receive on loan from God doesn't really belong to you or us as humanity. It still belongs to God. And if you're a believer and you believe in a creator, that child was created with a purpose to fulfill on earth, a plan to do it, and a skill set to be able to carry that plan out. And they would have a direction they needed to go. Well, who's going to determine that direction of that child? See, that's what we got to think about before the child even gets here. Okay, the child's been conceived. You've been to the doctor says, you're having a baby. All right, we don't even know the sex of the child yet. But we can start the pre-planning just like we would start the pre-planning of a company. Well, what do you need? Well, one of the first things you need for a company is funding. Okay, how are we going to fund this child? I know this may seem weird, but this is how I do everything. I'm a spreadsheet guy. How are we going to pay for everything? We got a lot of expenses coming up prior to, and then for the next, 18 years, but for the next 2 years, we've got an intense amount of expenses, from furniture to redoing the room to day-to-day stuff for a child. What have we budgeted? Have we made out a budget? And are we going to stick to that budget if we've made it out? I talk to a lot of younger parents now. I'm past that. I'm at grandpa age. But I talk to a lot of younger parents that do everything from here. Okay, I understand you love your child. So do I. Not from here. Okay, do it from here first and then here. This will always be here. You had that baby. You had it together. You were there when the baby was born. This is going to be there. But let's not check this out. because you got to use your brain in this instant. So what are you going to do? Have you set aside money? Have you started setting aside money now? Have you gone ahead and factored this into your budget? Let me ask this question. Wait, I got carried away here. Do you even have a family budget for your household? Okay, that's normally number one question I ask, because so many families don't. If you don't, there's plenty of stuff online that's free, or go by Dave Ramsey, or go by any of those programs. But get this budget done for the baby, because you got pre-birth, you got year one, can be extremely costly. Year 2, year 3, year 4. Normally by year 5, year 6, the costs are starting to even out just a little. So you got to handle the funding first. No business is going to survive without funding. All right, next. Who's your staff? Who is your staff? Who's going to be employed to take care of this baby? Okay. Have you started interviewing babysitters? Interview grandparents. Here's what I mean by this. Not all grandparents should be around their grandchildren. Okay, I know personally. Remember this, anything that, now that the baby's inside of you, anything that you absorb from sight, sound, feeling, food, is absorbed to the child. It can't help, but it's an organism. If you doubt this, just look it up on the internet. I'm trying to go through this as fast as I can. But if that's true, all the sights and the sounds that you absorb, everything you listen to, will be absorbed to the child. It's funny how children can come out and start listening to the same music mom did when she was pregnant. Or they have a taste for something that mom ate while she was pregnant. It's a very interesting study if you ever want to do it, or if you want to look it up online. So if that's true, that means every sight and sound that the mom sees prior to birth, that means people, music, city sounds, country sounds, whatever is absorbed in this environment also goes to the child. So why don't we protect it? It's just like if we've got a company, do we want the enemy or the competitor coming into our office and trashing us? No. I've seen so many grandparents, not even meaning well, trash their kids, say bad stuff about their children, and they do it in front of the grandchild. Now, remember, the child's here, mom and dad are still doing it. That's why I say, only employ people for your child that are good for the child. Remember, this child's on loan from God. And if this child's on loan from God, it's got a purpose to fulfill. Every single thing that you bring within this environment for this child and for you, that's negative, will impede that purpose. Okay, let me say that again. Every single thing that's brought into this environment, whether it's an external person, a sound, a shape, a thing, a food, that's negative, will impact this child throughout. It changes the way you see parenting, doesn't it? It makes you sit and think, wow. I ran this by so many women. Okay, guys, I left y'all out of this one. Because women are the ones that carry the baby. Women are the only ones I talk to. I can't ever carry a baby. Thank God I can't. Why y'all go through the pain of this and do it more than once? You got a medal of honor from me. That's all I got to say. I am in support of any woman who wants to do it. My hat's off to you. Women are tougher than we are. They outwork us. Boy, that list is long. And so thank you, moms, for willing to do it. But you're the important one, and that's why I asked you, what are the things that you didn't think about? What are the things that you did? And when I made my product, I made out a list. And this was on the list, and the ladies told me they were so wrapped up in the emotion of the moment. They didn't think through a lot of the things that needed to get done. I had planned on going to another topic. Tell you what, I'm going to stay on this one for right now. So when we get back from the break, I'm going to finish this topic. Get back from break. Be ready for tips on what to do pre-birth. I'll be right back.
Right now at Pizza Hut, you can get any 2 medium pizzas for $6.99 each. Get any toppings, any crust flavor, anything you want for just $6.99 each. And sweeten the deal with a Hershey's Triple Chocolate Brownie for just $5.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
The summer sell-down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited, now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT, now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell-down. Going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
El Rey and Elegy. El Rey Mexican Restaurant. Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings. Great prices, friendly service, and delicious Mexican cuisine. Patio dining available. Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1. Eat in or take away. Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Elegy.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Welcome back, show. Thank you so much for joining me. If you got a question for me throughout the show, it's questions@scottferrell.com, or you can hit us up on the text line, 706-889-9700, or you can go by our Facebook page. Throw something on there. Let us know what you're thinking about. Like our page, and let us know what you are thinking and feeling. All right, the topic I've been covering is what to do pre-baby. You find out you're pregnant. Now what? Now, what are we going to do? What are the first steps? What are the 20 steps? What is it that we've got to have in place to make sure that we take care of this gift from God that we've been given? All right, as I said earlier, that child's on loan from God. If you believe you're created, now if you don't believe you're created, you think it's on loan from you. But if you do believe you're created, it's on loan from God. And if that's true, that child's got a purpose here. All right, I think back to another child that had a purpose. Yeah, Jesus, that's what I'm talking about. And it goes with my model of business. Here's why. God didn't just randomly let Jesus be born to anybody, right? He picked who was going to raise Jesus. So he interviewed who was going to take care of him. He understood they'd have the budget to take care of it, and he understood what was going to happen. Yes, God also had past, present, and future of knowing what was going to happen. But the key was Jesus still had free will while he was on this earth. So he could choose that path or not choose it. But the circumstances around him allowed him to be able to take his path. See how important parenting is? Because Joseph and Mary don't know him. None of us will know him until later. But what was it they did? What did they take in consideration? Because they understood that this was a gift from God. He really wasn't theirs. He was on loan. And he has something great to do for the world. Is your child any different? Didn't God give you that child to raise because they were a gift from him? They're part of you, and now it's your job to make sure they get to the finish line or their destiny. So many times we get wrapped up in the emotion of what's going on, and we forget what's really important. And that's why I am here. I'm helping bring that back. So, along with understanding that this child's going to have a purpose and a plan and a direction, I tell mom and dad, what's yours? Okay? Right now in this country alone, blacks have a out of birth rate anywhere from 72, 79, depends on who did the study. Hispanic, a little over 60%, and white, about 57%. And those seem to change daily if you look them up on the internet. If that's true, we've got a lot of kids being born without the consideration of what do you do previously, what do you do prior, what do you do after, and what do you do ever? Because the mom doesn't have a purpose, plan, direction. So now the child won't have one. That's why, for the sake of this talk, I'm covering couples that are happily together that love each other. All right, let me get to where I was. Next, all right, we've got to go through the interview process of who's going to be surrounding this child. Okay? Not all grandparents are good people. Okay? I understand that personally from my own life. Some grandparents are completely toxic. I have young couples come to me all the time and talk about how bad their mother and father is. Now, they shower the kid with gifts, but they're toxic people. Again, always remember, what's inside you will eventually be born, and it has a distinct purpose for the rest of his or her life. Why do you want to put anything around this child that could stop that purpose? Well, what do we know about human programming? Again, it's something you can look up. I won't ever cover a topic on my show that you can't instantly look up on the internet and check the facts. Okay? Human programming. We know that from 0 to 5, we as humans are programmed through our 5 senses. So whatever connects us through our 5 senses will be poured into us and stay. Okay? If that's true, that also takes place once the baby's here, because it's a living, breathing organism. So whatever you hear, whatever you see, whatever you taste, whatever you smell, whatever you touch, will be absorbed. So now we've got to consider that. So we want to weed out any people that could keep this child from fulfilling their destiny. But in weeding out those people, are we really weeding them out just for the child? No. You hear this in motivational seminars all the time. Think of the people around you. Think of the negative Nellies. You always have to take the negative away and add a positive. Okay, so now let's think about this before the child gets here. We take the negative away and we bring in a positive. We only bring people into our lives that add to our lives, which add to our child's life. If we approach it this way, just like as if we were running a business, because don't you normally fire those negative people that are draining your sales staff and your customer service staff and your engineering staff and your reps and your suppliers? Don't you get rid of those? Why don't we get rid of them in life? Oh, we'll say, but they're family. I don't have that philosophy. If you're a negative person and you don't need to be in my life and you are not helping me fulfill my destiny, you are gone. I have to do that in my own personal life with my own family. Why should you approach it any different with your child? Remember, your little boy or your little girl won't always be that little boy or little girl. They're going to go on and be an adult. And if they're going to go on and be an adult with a purpose, plan, direction, you are laying the groundwork and that foundation right now for them to fulfill that even after you're gone. And the people they're going to help fulfill theirs are your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. And it's up to you to lay a proper foundation for those kids. All right, now part of that interview process, now that we've got the grandparents covered, now we got the cousins covered, we got siblings covered, now who's going to be the daycare person? Is the child going to be in daycare? What are the daycares that you have for an option? Sometimes you live places where there's not a lot of options. So you have to do the best you can do with what you can do. But remember, every single person at that daycare that touches your child will have an influence on your child for the rest of their life. Because if human programming is true, and everything on the internet is true, and everything in every medical journal I've read is true, whoever touches that life 0 to 5 is going to have an input. Whatever they say and whatever they do. Keep that in mind when you pick out a daycare. Now let's talk about babysitters. Now, eventually you're going to want a babysitter. You got to go out and date. Because one of the things you got to remember during this whole process is spouse 1, kids 2. Spouse 1, kids 2. Why do I say that? Because if the foundation of the family is not sound, then the entire family crumbles. So you've got to keep that foundation of parenting first, and then kids. Because if this is jiving, all of this jives. If this is not jiving, the kids never jive. So keep that in mind. It's just like a board of directors or CEO or CFO and a COO. If they don't jive, the company crumbles. So with that, you've got to check the babysitter. Who's your babysitter? Who's going to take care of your child when you're not there? Who can you trust? Well, there's a lot of kids out there. I mean, when we were kids, we babysitted, and I could give you a list as long as my arm now of potential babysitters that are absolutely fabulous. Just make sure you pick the right one, that has got the right priorities, and they're very clear on what you expect. All right, let me fast forward. The baby's born. Guys, why are you taking a football to the hospital? The kid may like the arts. Here's the thing I want all parents to understand. Now that the baby's here and we've been able to hold them and we've been able to kiss them, and there's absolutely no better feeling in the world. I know that one. You almost go into this panic of, oh my goodness. And then you go into this peace, and then you go into the panic, and then you go into this peace. Understand why you're holding that child. God's holding that child too. And then He's got that purpose for that child. And now it's your turn for the next 18 years to walk through that with that child. And every single parenting decision that you're ever going to make has got to be based on outcome for child. It's just like when you own a company. You've got to make decisions that are based on what's best for the company first, because you got to make money. And you got to make money for your investors. But you also got to take care of your employees. And you got to place them in the optimal position to use their skills to allow them to make money for you and them. And you got to understand that. So now you've got the first year of the child. Again, think about who's around the child, what are you feeding the child, what are you doing the child health-wise, and who are you? Is it harmony in the home, or is it fighting and fussing? Okay, let me go over that again. It's either or the other. Is there harmony in a home full of love, or is there fighting and fussing? Okay, I got the fighting and fussing version. You don't want fighting and fussing. You want harmony. The more harmonious the background is of the setting or the home life, the more calm the child's always going to be. Remember, if you had a water glass and it had no bottom, whatever you pour into it, it's still going to go in it, right? And it's going to stay there. So let's say we got a glass and we got to keep filling it up. Whatever is poured into that child is going to be there. What do you want poured into that child? What do you want put into that child's programming? What do you want that child to absorb into his or her subconscious? What do you want them to be? How successful do you want them to be? How much love do you want them to feel? Do you see where I'm going with this? Because right now you're going to determine how they accept who they are, who they love to love them, how they allow the world to treat them, the music they listen to, the language they speak, the food they eat, who they end up dating, who they end up marrying, what substance abuses they don't abuse. You see where I'm going with this? You have an opportunity to dictate every single thing that's getting ready to happen in that child's life outside of their free will, just by being good role models, understanding who you are, understanding that you were created, and understanding that child's got a path. I hope this helped. If you want any more information about my parenting products, or me coming out and speak to your group, or helping your group, or help you on a personal basis, ScotFerrell.com is how you reach me. If you want to send me an email, info@ScotFerrell.com. When I get back, I'm either going to cover a topic that I've been wanting to cover, and I'll get to the mailbag. I got a lot of questions here, so I may have to hit the mailbag. Either way, I'll be right back. Sit tight.
Right now at Pizza Hut, you can get any 2 medium pizzas for $6.99 each. Get any toppings, any crust flavor, anything you want for just $6.99 each. And sweeten the deal with a Hershey's Triple Chocolate Brownie for just $5.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
The summer sell down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited. Now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT. Now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell down. Going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
El Rey and Ellijay. El Rey Mexican Restaurant. Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings. Great prices, friendly service, and delicious Mexican cuisine. Patio dining available. Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1. Eat in or take away. Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, I promised I'd go to the mailbag, but I got a topic I wanted to cover. That means it's near and dear to my heart. What are some things you can do? I wrote down 10. But what are some things you can do to make your spouse feel better when they're sick? Well, this past week, right after my show on Friday, I haven't had solid food in about 5 days. And I had to go to the hospital doctor, so to speak, on Saturday. And I felt awful. I feel much better today, thank you. I know some people have been asking, I've been a little low on the show yesterday, but I feel so much better. But it made me appreciate the person at home that I had that takes care of me. And my wife's endless about taking care of me when I don't feel well. And I was thinking, and I was talking to our producer this morning, what do you do? What do you do if you don't know? What do you do if you're young? What do you do if this is a first one for you? How do you make your spouse feel better when they don't feel good and when they're sick and when they're in bed? All right, so I made a list because a lot of guys, from what women tell me, don't know what to do when their spouse is sick. So they do nothing. All right, guys, nothing's bad. Nothing's bad. All right, let me teach you a little something about your spouse. Just ask them, they'll tell you. All right, now I do have nothing on here, but it's got a whole different meaning. All right, number one that people told me they wanted when their spouse when they didn't feel well, they wanted their spouse to do was watch movies with them or watch a program. But movies seem to be the most genuine and the most spoken about. Movies. No, not movies that you want to watch, movies your spouse wants to watch. All right, for me, it's sports shows or something like that. When she's sick, it's old movies. So I'll throw in the old movies. I'll get her a beverage, get her whatever she's asked for. Just my whole goal is to make her more comfortable. Because When we were children, who did we yell for when we were sick? Was it dad or was it mom? Well, for me, it was granddad or my mother. It was never my father. My father was the type, rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. All right, the fever's 104, but it's not 105. You'll be fine. I remember my mother having to stick me in the tub as a child. I had 105 fever. She stuck me in the tub, and I had ice packed all the way to the top of that tub. That was right after my father had touched my head and said, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. So she decided to go get a thermometer, you know, one of those things that takes your temperature. Back in the good old days, you know how they used to have to do that. I'm glad things have changed. But she handled it, and then you got ice cream or whatever you wanted. Well, as an adult, has anything really changed? You still feel bad. You still don't want to be, you feel awful. You just want somebody to love you and to take care of you, just like mom did. Okay, so watch movies. It takes your mind off, especially if they're funny. Okay, I'm hurting. I feel awful. I'm laughing. I feel better. My wife's a drama person, so we watch dramas. There's one show she really likes to watch, Selfridge. Now she's got me hooked on it. I don't even know the name of it, but I watch it every time it's on. So that's one. Now the second one is peace and quiet. Sometimes the greatest gift that you can give your spouse is to not be there. I talked to several spouses when I was doing interviews for my book, and this was one of them. What is it that you really want from your spouse when you're sick? I want them to leave. Now, no men said that. Only the women said that. Men, take a clue. It must be because you're irritating your wife. Here's an idea. Stop. It makes the marriage last longer, and it makes the marriage much happier. Okay? So peace and quiet. Let them sleep. Let them rest. What's the number one way to get rid of anything that's affected your body? Rest, sleep. So give them that opportunity to go, I'm going to relax now. All right, next one. Feed them. I remember when I was single, I had a house out in the middle of nowhere. I laid in the floor. I'd hurt my back. I laid in the floor for 5 days before somebody was able to come and help me. It took me an hour to crawl to the phone. I'd hurt my back. Somehow I'd gotten in the floor, but I couldn't get back up. I had fallen and I couldn't get up. And I had herniated a disc in my back, and it was excruciating. So I spent about 4 days with no food. I had a glass of water that was on a table, so I was able to get to it. I timed it one time. To crawl to the bathroom, it took me 2 hours. Finally, I got in touch with somebody, and they came. I don't ever want to do that again. So feed them. Okay. What I said the other day, does chicken soup really work? Well, from a medical standpoint, if you look it up on the internet, they say it does. But from a personal standpoint, on the way you feel, it just makes you feel better. Now, chicken broth has medicinal purposes, but the feeling of just feeding me, just give me something to drink, just give me some electrolytes, just get me something and let me know that you care, then that's going to take care of a lot. All right. Do the chores. Yeah, baby. Do the chores. Okay. Guys, again, I'm going to have to get honest. Yes, women outwork us, they outchore us, they outdo everything else, most of the time. There's a few exceptions. So while she's sick in bed and you got her movie going, you got her beverage and you've fed her and you've left her alone, okay, do all the dishes, do all the cleaning, do the vacuuming, clean the bathrooms, and knock out the laundry. Yeah, that helps a lot because if the person's sick, knows that everything else on the peripheral is being handled, don't they feel better? Because they know when they get back up, they can, there's no rush. There's no pile of laundry over here. The dishes aren't stacked to the ceiling. The bathroom's clean. The carpet's vacuumed, or if it's hardwoods, you've swept them. Whatever needs to be done, you've handled. You've done the grocery shopping. So whatever it is, you've gone to them and said, hey, it's on me. Don't worry about it. All right, let me get to the next one. Make the phone calls that they need to make. All right. And between the two of us, we're both self-employed. We both have clients. Even before that, she was in the business world, so to speak. So you've got to make the phone calls for them. Did they have appointments? You've got to take care of that. Let's say even if they've got a staff, who's got to call the staff to make sure that that's handled? That's you. There's nothing worse than laying in the bed and you're sick and you feel like you were just waiting for death to come and get you. but you know you got 5 phone calls that had to be made today. You know you got 4 or 5 appointments you've got to cancel. And if you don't cancel them, there's nobody else to cancel them. That's where your spouse comes in. You ask, what phone calls have got to get done? Let me give you an agenda. Let me see where you got all these numbers and appointments. I'll handle it for you. I got this. From what people tell me, that load alone taken off them helps them heal faster. It definitely helps them relax, all right? Next one, take care of the kids. Some dads, I'm going back to dads again, some dads don't know when their kids' appointments are, where they go, what they do. They show up for the glory time. About 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, I'm home. Nobody knows what was done prior to your arrival. And I've talked to a lot of dads like this. And I didn't want to be one. So with our youngest, my wife's son, I made sure I knew when his appointments were. I did all the shopping for him, on and on and on, because I didn't want to be the lousy father I was with my oldest. So I made it, okay, messed up on that one, fixed it on this one. Take care of the kids. Your spouse, and again, I'm preaching to guys again on this one. Take care of the kids. Feed them, clothe them, bathe them, homework, get everything done. And make sure that environment for your spouse is peaceful. Let them rest. What they need is rest. They don't need chaos. They don't have to worry about anything because you got this. And make sure you got this. All right, personal care. This was something that reminds me of being a little boy, and this is something I get when I'm sick. If their feet are cold, put socks on them. If their feet need to be rubbed, rub them. I like to have my hands and my feet rubbed when I don't feel good. Or number one on the list is to have my hair brushed. I got long hair. Brushing of the hair is relaxing and it puts you to sleep. If I need to go to sleep, somebody's brushing my hair, I go to sleep at the salon. My friend Julie Baker that does my hair in Charlotte, North Carolina, she will start doing my hair and I'm sound asleep. She has to wake me up in the chair. So by the time she does shampoo, I'm asleep. By the time she gets back to finish my hair, I'm sound asleep. So you can imagine what it's like when I'm sick and I'm starting to get my hair brushed. That is one of the best things in the world. All right, let me get to the next one. Read to them. I like to be read to. When I was a high school teacher, I used to bring a book in and read to the kids. You would think that they wouldn't want to be read to anymore. Oh, no, they love to be read to. Now, you got to have a pleasing voice to be able to do this. But read to them, especially if they're well-read. They love books, and I'm married to someone who loves to read. So read to them. Now, unfortunately, she got someone who has dyslexia. So my reading to them and their own reading to them is two different things. Sometimes I don't get the story right. So we skipped that one. We skipped that one. But why did I cover this topic? Let me think. Because enough people have talked to me about it, and they didn't talk to me about it in a positive way. One of the bigger complaints I got when what men don't get about women was the fact that we men, guys, we didn't do our job when our spouses didn't feel well. We didn't do our job when they really needed us the most. So, is it a challenge? No, I don't like it when people throw out a challenge. Just say this. Sit down and talk to your spouse and say, hey, the next time that you don't feel well, what are the things that you want me to do? And I'll be glad to do them. Now, once you get that list from your spouse, okay, listening to me, once you get the list from the spouse, do it. It doesn't do any good if they spout out 10 things and you don't do any of them. Hey, man, it's our job. We're in this together, right? Your purpose, her purpose, combined together. Make sure it is a fun matrimony and a joyous one. And that can start by making sure your spouse knows that you got his or her back. All right, when we get back, I got PJ Lynch coming up at the top of the hour. Former CEO of numerous companies. And right now it's Focal Point 12, an educational company, software company. That's the best software that I've ever seen. But I'm having PJ come in to talk for a whole hour about what it really means to be a father, a CEO, and a husband, and to do it right every single time. Coming back up, we're going to go to the mailbag and grab your questions. I'll see you after the break.
Right now at Pizza Hut, you can get any 2 medium pizzas for $6.99 each. Get any toppings, any crust flavor, anything you want for just $6.99 each. And sweeten the deal with a Hershey's Triple Chocolate Brownie for just $5.99. Only at Pizza Hut.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Better days ahead.
The summer sell down is on at Days Chevrolet in Jasper with huge savings up to 16% off MSRP. Save over $4,100 off Malibu Limited, now just $19,500. Save $9,500 on loaded Silverado Crew Cab LT, now only $38,700. Save up to 16% off MSRP on select new Chevys in stock during the summer sell down, going on now at Days Chevrolet in Jasper.
Better days ahead. Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
El Rey and Ellijay. El Rey Mexican Restaurant. Family owned and operated and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings. Great prices, friendly service, and delicious Mexican cuisine. Patio dining available. Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1. Eat in or take away. Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
I'm Sheriff Dane Kirby, and I'll stand up for you.
I'm Stacy Nicholson, Sheriff of Gilmer County, and I will stand up for you.
Stand up and speak out. No matter how rich, cool, talented you believe yourself to be, how you treat people ultimately tells all. I am Allison Sosby, District Attorney, and I'll stand up for you.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for being part of my day, or at least part of my next 15 minutes, whichever one you choose. Hope you're having a great day. All right, how do you get in on the fun here at the show? How do you get a question answered by me during the mailbag segment? All good questions, let me tell you. Questions at scottferrell.com is how you reach us, or you can hit us up on the text line, 706-889-9700. Or you can go by Facebook, go ahead, like our page, put up what you think's going on, what you want to ask, and we'll handle it from there. It also allows a little crosstalk from people on Facebook to get in on the action. Remember, if you've got a question, chances are somebody else has got it. No different than school. Remember when you sit in your class and you'd be like, no, you do the look around. Anybody else ask that question? No, I better hold off. Well, as soon as one person puts their hand up, what happens? Boom, 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 boom. Everybody puts their hand up. Somebody just needed somebody to not be afraid and to ask. All right, so that's what we've got here. All right, let me get to the questions. I get this question quite often, and so does my pastor, Alan DiDio. The caller asks, why do evil people prosper? And my question back to them is, why shouldn't they? And they get mad. Well, they're evil. All right, let me ask you a question. Did they work hard? Did they put in the time to what they were going to do? Did they invest the money that it was going to take? Well, yeah. Okay? So what's that tell you? That evil and good people can prosper if they do what? Follow a set formula that brings about success. Now, why do evil people prosper? Well, they did what it took to get there. Now, do they stay there is the question. Okay, yes, some good people suffer, but listen, does everyone have free will? Does everyone have the ability to choose? And if everything that I've ever learned in the behavioral world is true from all my mentors, every single decision that I've made up to right now has brought me to where I am. So every success and every failure and every decision in between has gotten me to where I am now. So is it the fact that they're evil that they prospered, or they figured out how to work hard and do the right things? Yes, I've said it too. Why is that person prospered and that one didn't? And why does that one get so much money and why doesn't that one? Yeah, same reason. Success formula. You got to remember that God designed the laws of physics. And the laws of physics work for, anybody located here on this planet. So why do you think the laws of physics are only going to work for people you deem as good? They're not. He designed the laws of physics for humans to operate within this realm. And if we're going to operate in this realm, and there is the success formula out there, and it operates within the realm of God, we got a shot. Now, if you're a Christian, you believe in God and Satan. Who's the prince of this world? Well, it would be Satan if you're a believer. So why wouldn't evil prosper in this world? I actually teach a class on this. If you ever want to know about the class that I teach on this, it's scotferrell.com. Look it up. I'm actually doing it for a men's group in the North Georgia area in late September. But the question is, why do evil people prosper? And if somebody can answer me, why shouldn't they? That's a good one. It's more of, what do they do to prosper? There's a lot of people out there that are evil. I mean, good grief. A lot of people deem George Soros as evil. Why? Because he backs every bad group out there that tries to destroy the United States. But my question back is, how did George make his money? Now, he's a crook. That's up for debate. Depends on which country you're in, who you're talking to. Did he follow principles that would garner him a huge income? Yes. I've always looked at it this way. There's something I can learn from every situation that I'm placed in. And there's something I can learn from every person, whether it's what to do or what not to do. But when you look at a body of success, yes, they may be evil and wicked, but what did they do? Examine it. Now, you don't want to do that because you don't want to be considered the evil people who prosper. But guess what? If God's on your side, how can you not prosper? That's my next thought. So if you're a believer, you've got God, you've been created, you've got a purpose, plan, direction, then God's not the problem, right? It's you. So for you to prosper, what's got to change? You. Go to encountertoday.com. My pastor's already done the work for you. It's Teach My Hands to War is one of the programs that you can look. Teaches you how to get back on track. And then he's got several on prosperity. Now, before we get into, oh my God, he's talking about it, stop. Prosperity is much more than what? Money. It's love, satisfaction, relationship with God, harmonious life, joy-filled life. I mean, come on, guys. But money is part of it. If you ain't got bennies, if you ain't stacking bennies, you ain't got a lot of life. And normally when people are talking about prosperity, they're talking about money. But he did an in-depth study on how to obtain prosperity. And it always starts with who changing? You. All right, let me get to the next question. Thank you so much for that question. This is good. This is good. Somebody's apparently been listening to the fact that my wife went to Georgia. They want to know what I do for tailgating. Wow. I think I've been tailgating 5 times in my entire life. I'm not real big on crowds. So we probably go to 1 to 2 Georgia games a year. Well, now, if you've never been to an SEC football game, it's an experience, and it's about 95,000 people there, and everybody's tailgating. Well, I have such a limited thing that I can eat. What do I do when I tailgate? I eat really boring food. I'm not the guy to ask. Now, let me look at some of my friends. One of my friends has got a bus. He takes it everywhere. He's got a spread. He's got 2 smokers. He's got 3 flat screens. That's how you tailgate. If you always want to learn, how to tailgate, all right, let me give you the schools to go to. Ole Miss, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi State, South Carolina's got a pretty good one, Clemson. You see, I think Ohio State's pretty good. I've got a friend that does up there. Michigan. These schools I know have a pretty good tailgating party, and they have a lot of fun. But Ole Miss, from what I understand, my wife's been there, it's quite the experience. Now, I've been to North Carolina State. North Carolina State people know how to do it right, too. But Georgia's an experience because there's a lot of buses up there. It's a compact area. And then you get Alabama, you get Auburn. Pick an SEC school, and you're going to find a lot of fun. But Ole Miss, I like Ole Miss's tailgating because of the tradition. It's something about tradition that I really like. All right, let me get to the next one, but thank you so much for that question. All right, I got to withhold the name on this one naturally. This young lady says, my boyfriend is pressuring me for sex. He says he loves me. What should I do? Guys, let's talk here, guys. Come up with a different line. If you loved me, you would pull your pants down and have premarital sex with me that has zero responsibility connected to me. And then after you get pregnant, I'm going to leave you. Okay? Take it from the lead Scuds ball 30 some odd years ago who finally got his life to change. Don't use that one. Now let me talk to you, young lady. If he's pressuring you for sex, you should be pressuring him not to be your boyfriend anymore. Here's an idea, just a shot in the dark here. Coming from someone who was a despicable human being once upon a time. Why don't you wait till you get married? I know, I'm talking craziness, man. He's crazy. How dare him say that? He's crazy. Well, here's why I say this. I'm the guy who decided that he was a hound dog and had to have sex with everybody. Okay, I'm speaking for the Crisis Pregnancy Center this year as their keynote speaker. Why? Because I tried to keep them full about 35 years ago. And I was such a despicable human being. This is my penance for making up for what I did as an awful human being. Now, I went back and tried to apologize to anybody that would talk to me. It still doesn't change anything. And where does it all start? Oh, honey, I love you. I love you. If you loved me, you'd have sex with me. Oh, my gosh. Honey, if you just loved me, everybody else is doing it. Honey, you said you loved me. Boy, I can hear this dude now. Do you love you, my dear? Do you love who you are as a person? Do you believe that you were created with a purpose, plan, and direction? Well, every single time that you have sex with someone outside of the wedlock area, you are putting every single thing that God has poured into you into jeopardy. We're always that 5 seconds away from ruining the rest of our lives and changing the trajectory of what God had for us. Keep that in mind next time. Tell you what, I don't want to date you anymore. Hit it. And now go get a guy who values you for who you are and what you believe. All right, coming up, PJ Lynch is my guest today. He's going to be with me the whole next hour. I think he's got so much he can add to your life, and he adds to mine. He is a CEO of multiple companies, or was. Now I think he's whittled it down to one. Focal Point 12. It is an educational software company. I used to be a teacher. It's some of the best stuff I've ever seen. That's not why I've got him here. I've got him here because he's one of the most spectacular people that I've ever met. He's one of the best husbands and fathers and CEOs that you'll ever want to meet. PJ Lynch will be with me when I get back.